we do have this flag that's been taken out. As you can see, there's a nice clear breakout. Prior to that, you guys might think that this is a breakout. Here, look. So this is where you need to look at the fine details with the BLT. Otherwise, you'll be in trouble. So if we go back towards here, for example, this is obviously not it's not a break of the trend line. It's just it's a wick. So it's not a valid breakout. The next candlestick there's no confirmation. It's just a bearish close outside. There's no momentum. There's no conviction, but you need to be basically on your A game. The next candlestick, this is more or less confirming some structure, but the way it's breaking out is still a bit weak, but it's a valid structure, right? It's just a valid structure break. The next candlestick confirms that it was a weak break of a valid trend line break, right? You really want to see some momentum. Then the next candlestick is just invalidating the setup. There's a potential, even a boomerang. And the next candlestick, again, right now is bullish, so the breakout failed. And at the moment, as it stands, there's still it's just consolidating within the trend line. And then finally, this is the kind of candlesticks you want to be looking at, not these valid breaker structures, but very weak breaker structures. You want to see basically just some momentum, some conviction. So that's why I'm bearish for a short-term trade on the DXY towards this 1 minute banker block, or plan B, the 1 minute banker block above. And at the moment, it's just gradually pulling back. So there's a potential entry. Oh, wow, look, we do have some equal highs as well. So personally, I'm not going to be trading today because the markets are not screaming at me, but this is a valid setup if anyone's interested for a short or on the DXY. So we do have some equal highs. We've got the banker block, plan A, plan B. And with the current momentum, with the current structure, we can expect these equal lows to get mitigated towards this liquidity pool, as you can see, the zone from here. And this will be the target. So I'm expecting this on the DXY. What happens after, I don't really know and I don't care. I'm just looking for that first move if I see a setup. So if we now zoom out a little bit, the reason, it's a good area to be taking some profits is because what happens if this happens and it rallies up, right? You need to start preparing in advance and start forecasting a pattern that is not valid yet, but there's a good potential that it could be valid. So this is definitely a scenario. It could easily respect the setup that you had, reverse from the liquidity pool, make a new low, and all of a sudden we've got 1, 2, 1, 2, and it could just carry on going up towards the boomerang, the big boomerang that I'm expecting sometime this week. So that is a bit of a game plan on the DXY. If we zoom out one more time, we are still within sort of this ascending channel structure. So another scenario that could happen is it could just completely just drop and respect potentially this setup, 1, 2, and then maybe a boomerang of this. So there's multiple scenarios. It's the point I'm trying to get across. Just try not to have one scenario basically, because then you're not gonna have that edge. And if we keep zooming out, let's just go to the H4, for example. It's a bit, price action is a bit messy. What I am personally expecting is just a short-term drop, and then it could rally from here, right? Or it could rally from this pattern here, 1, 2, 3, or it might even surprise everyone and drop even further and rally from this 1, 2, and 3. Again, all probabilities. The way you trade the probabilities is you just have to wait for confirmation, wait for the 1, 2, 3, wait for the boomerang, and then you act. Right, so I'm prepared for that scenario. If we also zoom out to the daily, we're still within this sort of larger structure. So on the weekly time frame, we're still actually bullish within this pattern, as you can see. There's 1, 2, 1, 2. We're just on 1, 2, 3, 4. We're on our way to our 5th wave, where it's basically the 3rd tap boomerang, where I'm expecting a big drop on the dollar. So at the moment, bullish scenarios and the dollars are favored, but that's not going to stop us from taking shorts on the 1 minute time frame or the 50-minute time frame. So just zooming out a little bit. I mean, even if we go to the monthly and we do have this sort of parallel channel, which is lovely in confluence with, again, the boomerang. So we do have a mini structure there, some structure here. The parallel channel for a potential third tap, also in confluence to this. So this is the same schematics that we trade on the 1 minute. It's just happening on the monthly. So surprise, surprise, if it goes up and then completely plummets from there on the dollar, bearing in mind, this is the monthly time frame. So that is the game plan for the dollar. Let's go zoom in a bit. Again, that's forecasting months ahead. You know, we just have it as a reference. When price is there, then we can act. For now, yeah, we're just looking for quick shorts or quick buys, quick shorts, quick buys, quick shorts. And these moves here, you know, you're catching 10-hour trades on a minimum. This is why we're just waiting for that quick 1 power move. And then every now and again, you could hold a trade and, you know, get those hero Hollywood trades and you actually hold it for a good 20, 30-yard trades. But, you know, my advice is to bank profits at 5, 10, 15 now. Okay, so that's DXY. Yeah, that's it. That's DXY. It's covered. Euro again, it's not really screaming at me. It's not. It's breaking out of this flag, but look at the breakout on the breakout. The flag is quite weak, so something to be wary of. We are within this 1 hour bullish structure, right? New high, new relevant low. Liquidity grab. Wait, let's go to the 1 hour. It's a lot clearer. So we are within bullish structure because of the recent 1 hour break. So the bullish flags are favored than rather bearish flags. So just something to note out. For the moment, the range of the 1 hour is quite big. And obviously when the range of the 1 hour is quite big, it just reduces the win rate. You really want to see ranges like this, you know, nice tight ranges. So you get a nice quick break, retest on the 50-minute, and then we sell it. When the range is really big, this is when I just step away from the markets until it's really clear. It's like last week, I only took around 2, 3 trades or 4 trades or something like that, but I made a pretty decent amount in risk reward, where I'm just waiting for a setup to be screaming at me. So I'll be definitely looking for buys from around here as a potential scenario on the euro. And obviously if price develops, then I'll be looking for maybe a boomerang of this pattern or potentially a boomerang of this pattern. At the moment, these trades in the middle, I don't take them at the start of the week. Unless I've got a buffer to play with, then I'm more aggressive and I start taking valid okay trades. But taking a valid okay trade here in the middle with no buffer to play with, you know, I haven't traded this week, then I'll just step away. So with the euro, again, it's not really screaming at me, but, you know, it has potential to just complete sort of this pattern and then form a bit of a boomerang, really. Yeah, this would be a pretty decent boomerang. And, you know, how can we forecast that boomerang? Personally, I'll be waiting for the 1, 2, 3. Is anyone here not too familiar with the 1, 2, 3? Because I do see some new names. Or is everyone all crystal clear what the 1, 2, 3 is? The 1, 2, 3 is just the boomerang retest.
Hi, Diego. If you could briefly go through it, I'm just starting the course. I've been through it once, but just sort of working through it again. So, yeah, if you could go through that, it'd be great.
Yes, definitely. So, so the 1, 2, 3, Tom, is in the course. It's called the boomerang retest. I just changed the name recently because it's a lot easier to sort of teach and show. You know, it's just very simple 1, 2, 3, rather than going through the technical terms of the boomerang retest. So, just a quick summary what the boomerang retest is. So, say, for example, you've got this, and you're waiting for a boomerang, a bullish boomerang, right? This is a bullish boomerang, and we're catching a trade here. Right, just a simple boomerang, and you'll take profit up here somewhere. Cool, that's a bullish boomerang. A boomerang retest, quote the 1, 2, 3, it's the same thing. The only difference is you let the boomerang trigger, right? So once it gets triggered at the point of interest, wherever the point of interest is, it could be a banker block or whatever. But once the boomerang actually gets triggered, you don't touch it. That's just it's just confirming the 1, 2, 3. So what you want to do initially is this. So you just monitor on the lower time frames. It's on its way down, on its way down, on its way down. You get triggered in if you're catching a boomerang. But the boomerang 1, 2, 3 is you don't touch it. You let the boomerang basically trigger the point of interest, and then you just wait for confirmation. The confirmation is the break of structure, right?
Right. Okay. Yep.
And then you've got hold on. Then once you zoom into the lower time frames, you then basically just do the same schematic, and then you wait for another break of structure and you can enter. So here, for example, this will be your pattern at your new point of interest. And as you can see here, there's actually a QM. And then you can catch this boomerang here. Right? So you're basically catching the double boomerang. And this is one entry, and then you've got another opportunity here on the break of structure to catch this entry. But obviously, at your entries, you need to wait for either a pattern or some equal lows or a QM. If you don't wait for that, they still work out, but the probability, they reduce a little bit. In fact, I've got a perfect example on a recent trade that I took. And these have a much higher win rate than the boomerang and a higher risk reward. So this is why I recommend just doing the boomerang retest or the boomerang 1, 2, 3. So let me cover, now that we're quite fresh on the 1, 2, 3, let me cover dollar CAD. So this, for example, Euro USD, let me see. Yeah, Euro USD it's not going to be until maybe Wednesday. This is the point of interest. So this is the boomerang territory. But what I'll personally be waiting for is I'll be monitoring the 1 minute and the 5 minute time frame. And then eventually, once I get that confirmation, then I'll be looking for a new pattern or equal lows or a QM or a bit of everything all in one, right? And this is where I'll be looking for a potential entry. So let's look at dollar CAD. This is actually a recent 1, 2, 3 that I took. Where was it? No, hold on. Okay, so the 1, right, is your break of structure. Notice, Tom and everyone else, there's many, many break of structures, right? There's one here, one here, one here, one here. They are all valid. But what you need to do is once you've got a valid one with a clear banker block, this is your 1. Your number 2, you basically, hold on, your number 2, you basically need a pattern at your point of interest, basically quote at your boomerang. So although you can have a break of structure here, right? And here, for example, these are all basically also all 1s. They are all 1s, right? But you don't really take the 2 until there's a pattern. So notice how when this break of structure came, there was no pattern, no pattern, no pattern. But this number 1, clear pattern, clear boomerang, right? You've got 1, 2, and you've got your boomerang. And it's the same with this pattern here. You've got 1, 2, and you've got your boomerang. So once your number 2 gets triggered, let's go to the 5 minute time frame. Let's go to the 1 minute. So then what happened here is my number 2 got triggered at the start of the banker block, right? I took a loss and I'm going to explain the reason for the loss. So number 2 got triggered. Once number 2 gets triggered, you then have to wait for a break of structure, right? The break of structure happened initially, it was here. And then it was actually caused by, it's a bit messy, it was caused by here. But really, do you want to take a trade here? No, you want to take it at the highest point with a pattern. Here we've got a QM. So I decided to take a trade here and it basically failed. It failed for 2 reasons. 1, it increases the win rate when there's equal highs or if there's some form of a wedge or a pattern. And 2, the point of interest number 2, it triggered at the start of the banker block. right? So the probability decreases a little bit. Really what you want to see is the two trigger at least around this area here. So around the 50%, a little bit below or a little bit above. But when it's just at the start of the two, that reduces the win rate a little bit, right? So the fact that I never had any equal highs, I never had no patterns, and the number two was at the start of the banker block, that reduces the win rate, hence why I took a loss. Fine, not the end of the world. But I knew that this was such a high probability area, there's going to be a 1 to 3. So I just waited for it. Now, bearing in mind, would I have taken this trade here if I took a loss at the start of the week and I see this again? I probably would have reduced the risk, but because I've literally killed it with Aussie, with tenor or dollar CAD or whatever, I've got room to be a bit more aggressive. So this setup came. So the same scenario, but now the two went to the high probability point of interest, which is this sort of zone here. And obviously when that happened, then you're looking for the most relevant zones. So, relevant low, relevant high, and this is your broken structure. This is your new high. And then we've obviously got this banker block that took out structure, but you want to avoid these because it's just too close to it. And these reduces the win rate. But this one here looked a lot cleaner, especially because of the QM that was there as well. It's quite hard to see on the 1 minute. So sometimes you might have to go on the 30-second just to see some more clarity. And this is the QM, right? You guys can see the QM, right? Left shoulder, head, and the right shoulder. And we've got the equal highs. So that, again, increases the win rate. So there's a big difference. Equal highs and a QM at a point of interest after a 2 that triggered around an important zone rather than at the real, at the start of the banker block. There's more liquidity here, right? Within the medium sort of range, hence why price basically took me out and it ended up grabbing the liquidity, and then you got the confirmation. And then we had this entry, Then we had this entry. Initially, the best 1, 2, 3s, and this is when I increase the risk myself, is when I've got this, but I've got it with some form of a pattern here, right? Or a larger pattern, if there's a pattern, right? So that's basically saying you've got a pattern, you've got equal highs, and you've got a QM, increase the risk. Honestly, that has such a massive win rate. So
okay, that's really helpful. Thanks. Yeah.
All good. And then this basically had to take profit. It went towards the liquidity pool, and it was a good little trade. Should have really held the remaining 20%, but I wasn't going to be in front of the charts. So I just thought, let me just bank profit. I'm happy with, just over 5R, and it ended up on the same day just dropping a lot more, but it's all good. So this is all, it's all been journaled. We can now update everything. Okay, that's been updated. Now notice how it's become a bit of a wide expanding. So now I'm gonna go back to the previous low. Got this pattern here. So we've just eliminated this previous structure. So let's delete this. Now, dollar CAD's most likely on his way down towards, I've already got the banker blocks and everything here. What we can do is, let me just, this nice little banker block. And we'll reevaluate. I mean, this liquidity pool, this would just be a good area to be banking profit if there's a quick little short there. But I wouldn't otherwise taken any trades there. Never take a trade inside of a pattern. And at the moment, as it stands, I mean, we can delete all this now. This imbalance, good little point of interest. But what I want to see is, I want to update the level once price is near it. Because what could happen? It could easily drop, rally, consolidate, drop, rally, consolidate, and then all of a sudden it's invalid. And then what I'll do is I'll update any relevant point of interest here to the left. So once price is a little bit nearer to the point of interest, then I'll be looking for a new banker block or an imbalance, etc. So just to summarize, with the 1, 2, 3, we need to look for a breaker structure. It could be on the lower time frame, 15-minute. It could be here, it could be here. Once you've got your breaker structure, that's your 1. Then you need a pattern, which is obviously, let's just say, let me see, hold on. This is just a brief example. So this could be your number 1, right? You can see the breaker structure, right? That's number 1. Then your number 2 is the point of interest that took out that structure. So first of all, it'll be this sort of banker block. This is your number 2. So you need a pattern here. At the moment, it's just not relevant because it's not near it. But what could happen easily is you might see something like this. Whoa, give me a sec. I don't know what's happening. See this again. Let's flip it around. So if we do get like a pattern here somewhere, let's just say this is a pattern. This would be your number 2 because there's a valid pattern at your point of interest that took out structure at your number 1. So that's your number 2. But then what you want to do is wait for a new breaker structure at your point of interest with momentum. And then you catch the retest with a pattern, equal lows. And this is your number 3 with your 1 minute or your 5-minute entry. And this is where you want to enter. Somewhere down here. But at the moment, it's still quite early, really. Still quite early with dollar CAD. Just gonna let it, just let it drop, and I'll be looking for longs. Unless I see a high probability trade in the middle, which is possible, but I would like to see, there's this point of interest. I see some form of a pattern there. Boomerang, breaker structure number 1. Number 2 is a pattern at the point of interest. Wait for some momentum, and then catch the retest with compression or equal highs and catch the number 3 here. Then this I'll be happily trade that any day. Then I'll sell it towards either this area or this area. But at the moment, still early. It's Mondays. Every now and again, Mondays they're dead. Sometimes they're really clear. But at the moment, they're actually quite clear today, I must say. They are actually quite clear. So I might just leave this here as a reference in case there's a setup. Let's go to the 1 hour. And then we also have this. So just set an alert down here, just in case there's a clear setup. At the moment, we don't want to catch the momentum. That's just pure FOMO and just amateur stuff. What you want to do is just let the momentum kick in, and then we catch the compression, right? And then you're in the momentum. At the moment, it's still early times. But dollar CAD weakness, for the week. We'll see. Today is festive. Today is bank holiday, Gabriel. You're right, with America. So it's probably why it's not that clean. So even if there's a setup, it's going to be slow. It's Monday. There's going to be many, many trades sometime this week. So Euro's done. Dollar CAD is done. Aussie I haven't even analyzed Aussie this morning. So I'll just do a brief one. So first, let me see. Okay, let's remove all this. So we'll just do like a new analysis. This is old. We can leave this here. No, it's Independence. Oh, Independence Day. They won the war against you guys back in 1976. Okay, cool. Cool. Let me see. So let me zoom out real quick on this pair. At the moment, there's compression in the middle of the pattern. Do you have this as the plan B pattern if this one here fails? So, just probabilistic mindset, either a boomerang from here or a boomerang from here. I'll be favoriting this one because the taps are they're more equally balanced rather than having all these 2, 3, 4, and then this large gap. These, just be careful with these ones. Yeah, it's not. I say we just kind of have to wait. So we do have some equal highs there, and we have. It's a bit messy. It's quite hard to see a liquidity pool unless we go to the 15-minute. If it's messy on the 1 hour, just go to the 15-minute. I mean, you can just, that's quite a lot. I mean, there's a banker block here. There's potentially this liquidity pool here. But then we've got equal highs there as well. So just another reason to be cautious. And I'll most likely be favoriting this sort of banker block area for a potential short. So let's go back to the 1 hour. Yeah, let's see. Let's wait. I'll rather wait for the equal highs to get mitigated. So potential shorts on the Aussie. And you know, Aussie, I've been killing Aussie recently, but at the moment, it's not screaming at me. The reason it's not screaming at me is because it's just momentum. I would like to see a nice pullback. And if we do get a pullback, then I know I can use this high, this low, and this new low. And then all of a sudden, we've got some nice structure. And then it will be screaming at me because we've got equal highs. We've got liquidity pool, potential messy in the QN, maybe. Haven't really went into detail. So yeah, this has potential, but we need a pullback. At the moment, there's too much momentum. So it's just a bit messy. Not messy, it's just not screaming at me. Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, I've been thinking, once the pattern heads to the banker block, bank level at a point of interest, we jump in. So to get you clear, I have to wait for, no, you can jump in, you can catch the boomerang, but just bear in mind that if you catch the boomerang, like if you catch this boomerang, it's fine. You can take this trade here, right? You can, wherever it is, if there's a pattern here, right? So if you do get some form of a pattern, eventually, and you catch this boomerang, boom, this is a good trade. You know, you can catch it, but you have to know the win rate is different to the 1, 2, 3. The win rate on catching just the boomerang it can vary from 30 to 50%, but the risk reward, you're still going to catch like 10R, 20R. So it's fine, you know? So it's completely down to you. Personally, I prefer the 1, 2, 3 because it's just less stress, it's just easier to manage and has a higher win rate, has a higher risk reward. So I'll recommend catching the boomerang 1, 2, 3, but you can catch either. Again, I sometimes catch the boomerangs myself, but I only do that when I've got a buffer to play with. Like, I think it was last week, Aussie, I was up around 10R at the start of the week and I saw a boomerang and I took it. But if I saw that same setup, literally, let's say right now or tomorrow, I wouldn't take it because I don't have a buffer to play with. It's just my personal risk parameter rules. Everyone's different. Let me just finish your question on CityLink. So yeah, so to get you clear, I have to wait for the tap for the tap, and that will be confirming the point. Yeah, that will confirm the point of interest once the point of interest gets triggered. Then you wait for a breaker structure on the lower time frames, and then you enter. So yeah, at the moment, yeah, this is just not really, yeah, it's not really ready. So that's the CAD, Euro, Aussie, dollar, yen. What is happening here? Okay, so this was a pattern that we had last week. And I do remember saying that this has potential to drop. It doesn't have to come in because of the current relevant price action, right? Why would it, what's the likelihood now of seeing this and then continue going up? The likelihood is, the probability is a bit low because there's large compression and a liquidity pool. So it's unlikely for it to continue going up, but still a possibility, but it's just unlikely. So really what's happened here is just a flag before a pattern. You know, when you've got a pattern and you've got this, and then you've got this sort of pattern here, compression, it's likely to drop and it won't reach up here. So that's more or less what happened with dollar yen. And there was actually a good missed trade opportunity here. So there was a clear break of structure, right? Clear break of structure caused by this little banker block here. And this could have been a valid trade, and there's a bit of a QM there. You can see the QM here, left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder. This is a valid trade. A trade that I'll take today or tomorrow? No. A trade that I'll take if I had a buffer to play with? Yes. So yeah, that's more or less complete. Let's see what's happening with dollar. So first of all, I mean, this is done. You can just sort of update everything. It's all good. I'll be favoriting longs now. With dollar yen. And I do like the fact that there's no third tap yet, right? And we know there's very likely to be a third tap soon, especially to take out these equal lows around down here somewhere at this liquidity pool. So if there's a sell setup, these are really good. I love taking these sell setups towards this point of interest. You know, I normally take this trade here. I'll sell it and then I'll buy it. Boom. But start of the week, I don't have the buffer to play with. I need to wait for a high probability trade. That's why I'm normally a bit quiet at the start of the week, because I'm just waiting for high probability sales. There's no point taking every single trade and whatnot. Or you can. I mean, it's good because you'll learn from your trades. You're trading often, but when you get to the stage where you just know you're just better off waiting, it's just less stress, isn't it? And because I've learned so many lessons, I know what I'm waiting for. But what I would recommend is if you're back testing, forward testing, take as many trades as you can, lose as much as you can so you can learn as much as you can. If you're trying to take just high probability trades after the BLT, you're going to develop a lot slower than somebody that's taking 10 losses a week, put it that way. Okay, so at the moment, it's okay. Anything else that we've missed out? This banker block here looks quite decent over there to the left. That could be the point of interest. You have some equal highs there. And then we can use this as a sort of plan B liquidity pool on dollar yen. So yeah, this is this would be a pretty decent trade. Again, just to summarize, would I take this? I don't know. I need to wait, because what could happen is this is your break of structure somewhere, right? That's your number one. Number two would be here, right? Which is your pattern at number two. And if I get something clear momentum and another pattern, that's my number three, then I'll take that. That's a high probability trade. And obviously there's different types of high probability trades. At the moment, we're catching a sell on descending structure, but then we do have ascending structure. So if you're catching a sell, the best ones are obviously when the pattern is large and ascending, and you catch the 1 to 3 on the flip side. So just things to note out. Just like this. Okay, nice little equal lows. That's the liquidity pool. It will most likely hit, and the point of interest. And obviously, if it goes lower, it goes lower. We just let the confirmation come to us. So this is the game plan, really. Shorts, and then obviously potential buys from around this area. Again, that could easily be updated and reevaluated. Okay, so that's the game plan on the dollar USD yen. And that's it. Cool. That's me done. I'm waiting for dollar yen potentials. I'm going to add it to my watch list. Dollar CAD, it's in the middle, so I'm going to be a bit cautious. Euro, Euro just not screaming at me. I'm waiting for the dollar to show something first. And yeah, that's literally about it. And with the dollar, really will be favoriting longs because we just know where it's going, right? I believe somebody said, can you analyze cable? I can. I got time. It's all good. So let me do cable real quick for Wolverine. Cable. GBP USD. Oh, it's been a while. I don't really trade cable, but let me see what I've got. H4. Okay, this is quite old. So yeah, this needs a complete haircut. Let me start from the weekly real quick. Anything sort of screaming at me? Not really. We could add, I mean, it's not, nah, it's not really, just have it there as a reference, this sort of channel that we've got here. Able, similar to euros, it's got more room to the downside. And daily, oh la la, hold on, let's do this again. This is so important, guys. What I'm about to say, I know I've said it a few times, and some of you guys know already, but some of the new members, always double analyze your trend lines and your levels, because that split second where you just ignored, had I just ignored that 1 inch trend line and you just get into the zone, you start zooming in and you forget about it, it makes a big difference with your entries. It's the difference between a loss and a win. So just make sure that it's completely accurate all the time. So important. Got all this momentum, right? So there's lots of volume there. So be a bit of a magnet towards there. So what will probably happen is drop, grab some liquidity here, wherever it is, and then rally. But we know it's coming down here because of the larger sort of structure. Okay, so let me see what else is happening here. Looks like this is on the cards as well. Okay, H4. Okay, this is where it could get interesting. Okay, it looks like this head and shoulder more or less played out already. This is a scenario. It's quite similar to Euro, to be honest. I'll definitely be favoriting shorts. You can use the CMD Mac or like the magnet thing. Yeah, I never do that, Freddie. I find it so annoying. But I know what you mean. I used to do it, but I just don't do it. Let me try it again. Maybe, what is it? The CMD, but that's for Mac. Or CTL key, CTRL. Yeah, I used to do this, but I find it so annoying. I'm just not used to it. I mean, probably need to practice doing it, but it's a good little trick, everyone, if you want to use the magnet indicator, which is here on the left, where you can just literally hold, what Freddie said, hold the CTRL and then obviously connect it to your trend line. Yeah, you need a bit of practice. And in rug, I'm currently long short term on it. Okay, cool. Bargain out. Am I bugging out? Okay, so with cable, good little potential shorts coming out really. Notice how it's breaking the trend line. It's breaking it very, very correctively. So I'll be very, very careful. If anything, there's a bit of a boomerang now, more or less. Do you have some equal highs as well? And then we have a bunch of anchor blocks from around here. You can either just use the whole range. If they're so close together and they're all filling up, then that's a good low point of interest. So yeah, that'll be my focus for cable. Good little short from around here. But again, I would recommend to let it trigger, wait for some momentum, wait for a break of structure and catch the number 3, right? Then you can get involved. Okay, that's it. Unless you guys have any questions or some of the new members, feel free to ask. I've got, well, not much, probably 5 minutes because I need to upload and attend the meeting. Picture cable has a QM on the H1. Oh, yeah, nice. Yeah, didn't see that. Nice one. Look, QM, left shoulder, head, and a potential right shoulder. So that's an either greater confluences to actually sell this. Oh, Freddie, I think you're doing it wrong. You click the TL2 and then you hold down the CLs. Okay, so I was only for the first tap. Okay, cool. Nice one, Freddie. I'll definitely practice that. Okay, that's it. All right, guys. No questions. We'll call it a day then. Nice one, Connor, Freddie, and everyone else. And whoever's new to the community, welcome. We'll be on Discord. Feel free to ask questions in the Q&A. And yeah, trade safe, follow the rules, and I'll see you potentially tomorrow. So yeah, have a good one, everyone. Take care. Bye.